let's jump into it though. And I actually asked ChatGPT for I said, hey, and
Chatty
of course, Chatty G knew we were there, so we got mentioned. There's like 7 here. A couple of them I knew. A couple of them I was like, what? I'm like, what is this? And maybe you've heard. So I do have a little.
Go
Let's see
down the
how
list.
many. 2, 3, 4, 5.
Okay, before we get into this list, I wanted to
There's
set
8.
some ground rules. I want to set some ground rules, if that's okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Are you comfortable with us, if we're familiar with an event, saying I would or would not go to that one, and why?
Yeah. I think it holds more weight if one of us has been to the event. I feel like if you've attended, my personal opinion is like if you've attended an event, you have every right to really provide your opinion. I think when you haven't actually gotten to attend the event, I think you're relying on outside opinions on what that event. So I think that's the one thing I will say about it. And what I'm looking at this list now because it's actually a lot bigger than I thought. So there's 8 Medicare events, but then they provided a bunch of non-industry specific events.
Ooh.
So there's like a list of like 20 here if you want to go to talk about like the non-industry specific events as well. But I think the first 8 for sure we've got to tell you. There's some good ones on here. So you want me to just start at the top?
Let's jump in.
All right, Chatty G. Chatty G. Okay, number 1. Medicare. Oh, sorry, I was reading the wrong spot there. Medicarians in Vegas, Agent Symposium 2026. Says the niche Medicare senior market, distribution agents and FMOs, and the dates for this one, it's April 20th to the 22nd in Las Vegas at the Fontainebleau.
Las Vegas, Nevada.
Las Vegas, viva Las Vegas.
So, I admittedly have never been to Medicarians.
Nor have I.
I've had the opportunity to go several times because of the relationships that we have, right, in the space. I've always had people that have tickets or VIP passes that have invited me to go as a part of their group or invited us, to go as a part of their group. I've never taken up the chance to go. And the reason was because I have never been invited to speak there. It's the only Medicare event for the industry that I have neither not spoken at or been invited to speak at. I feel pretty comfortable in saying that. Well, I guess
can we just be honest here? Isn't it mostly pay to play at Medicarians?
Yes, but let me give some additional thoughts to this. Okay. So my beef with Medicarians over the years. Now, granted,
we need a secondary podcast that's just like Christian's beefs, which is every week is a new beef that we're covering. My beef.
Okay, so admittedly, I believe we're planning on being there next year.
Yeah, I think so, in somewhat shape or form, for sure.
We don't know exactly what that will look like yet, but we're planning on attending. It's a very big event. There's a lot of very important people there, people on the carrier side, FMO side, private equity side, and all the above. My beef with it over the years, and it is the biggest Medicare event in terms of volume of people that are there. There's going to be thousands of agents that are there. My beef with it has been that, like Glenn said, it is very much pay to play. So if you go with the understanding that you are going to be pitched to for 2 days. And if you're not being pitched to, you'll have the compliance Nazis, shaming you from stage for 2 days.
So to run this back a little bit, because Medicarians is probably one of the few conferences that I think are really worth talking about for a few different. One is this used to be the Med Sub conference. It got bought by another entity that runs events. I believe it's the same owner that does LeadsCon. They bought
Yes.
the MedSub conference, and they're like, hey, we're going to rebrand this. It's Medicarians now. I almost went to the MedSub conference one year. I ended up not going. Then I was heavily invited to the first Medicarians, which I want to say was like 2022, I think. And I got nothing but, again, third-party information. I didn't go, but I got nothing but really bad reviews from people that I know that went to the first one.
Same.
And
As did I.
specifically what was mentioned is that it was basically like all again, pay to play. It was like all vendors, all like FMO heads, and there was like really no agents there. And so everyone who did go kind of came back and they were like, yeah, I just, there wasn't a lot of value there. They again, bad reviews. Now, the reviews I got on last year's Medicarians was very different. And I think the reason that is it was so big. There was a lot of agents and FMOs and again, industry leaders there, whether they paid or not, right? You're still getting all these people in the room. So I think there's value from that standpoint, right? Is like, even if the event itself isn't incredible, which again, I haven't been, so I can't necessarily say either way. If you have been, feel free to drop your review in the comments. But if you're just wanting to rub shoulders with more people in the industry, Medicarians is definitely a spot to do it, and that's why Christian and I are looking at going ourselves.
To elaborate just a tiny bit on other reasons why I haven't gone previous to next year, is because I made the commitment a couple of years ago that I was not going to attend any events that I wasn't speaking at. That was kind of, because why? One thing I learned anytime I would go to an event that I wasn't speaking at is that I would get more attention from attendees than the speakers would. Like there'd be people speaking that no one knows who they are. People see me there. They're like, you're speaking, aren't you? What are you doing here? I'm like, oh, I don't know what I'm doing here. I don't know why I'm here. And there's people taking pictures with me, posting them online. And I noticed very quickly, I'm like, oh, I am providing amazing publicity for this person's event, but they wouldn't put me on their stage.
Yeah.
So I made that kind of hard line in the sand where I'm like, if you want me to bring credibility to your event, and by me being there, just by me sitting in the room, I'm doing that. I don't mean to have a big head, but that's the truth. I mean, I won't do it unless I'm going to be on stage. Now, granted, Medicarians is a pay-to-play thing, right? And pay-to-play has been extremely demonized by our industry, right? People hate events that pay to put people on the stage, except for Medicarians. People don't seem to care as much. I don't understand why. But the person that writes the biggest check is the person that gets on the stage. So that's why I wasn't going. That being said, I do feel like it is such a big industry event that we're warranted in being there. And maybe we pay to speak. I don't know. I mean, I've kind of been against that because I feel like I bring a lot of value, but if integrity has to pay to speak, I'm sure I do too.
Right. Right. Everyone's being held to the same standard. The problem though is from a value standpoint, and this was something I was going to mention about the summit too, you guys, is like, we could run an event if we wanted to, and it could be our entire downline that speaks. It could be a nonstop pitch fest from stage. It could be only people who pay to speak. And it could be something that tries to just monetize the entire experience where Christian and I are actually making money. But we don't do that. And we don't do that because we want to bring value. And we want something that people have a good experience. They're not just getting pitched 24/7. So, that again, that's where it gets a little gray for me too, is like, if everyone's there and they paid, now they're looking at trying to get an ROI. And a lot of times they're not just up there to bring value. It's, hey, pull out your phone and you're signing up right now, right? Like, again, we've both seen it. We've both been at events where that's happened, right? Where it's like, they're trying to get an ROI on what they spend getting up on that stage. right?
8% got a horrible reputation for a couple years for that. There was a lot of agents that looked at that event as exactly that, and people didn't like that vibe of it, right? And so, but people don't have the same perception of Medicarians. But how is it different? I don't understand. But I think the reason that we'll be there is because it's so big. That is probably the only reason. It's the only event that's going to be that big. And that's in terms of industry specific. There is no other. The company that's running it is a professional event hosting company. Like Glenn said, they host LeadsCon, so that's all they do. They're really good at it in terms of getting butts and seats and monetizing it and everything like that. Right. So, by going, you're part of the cog. But I think because of just the sheer volume of people that go, it's probably beneficial for us to be there.
Yeah, I think there's value, right? Like I said, I mean, I've always said that some of the most value of any event is what's happening after the event's over, or, what the conversation that's happening in the hallways, right? Like, so when you have that type of volume of people there, your chance of getting an ROI as an attendee is pretty high. Like if you're a halfway decent networker, like, as long as you're not just a fly on the wall and you're like scared to talk to people, which I know some of you are, don't do that. Like talk to people, shake hands, introduce yourself. Like that's where, in my mind, most of the value of these events are. I just talked to somebody last week about Medicarians, and they had a really great business connection that happened sitting at the bar with somebody. They went into business with them within like 24 hours, right? So, but again, that can happen at any event, right? As long as you're doing that networking and you're meeting the right people. So let's keep going though. I feel like we talked a lot about that one. Let's keep rolling here. So here's one I'm not familiar with. I'm curious if you are. RISE, RISE, RISE National 2026.
Never heard of it.
Here's kind of the Chatty G highlight of it. Medicare Advantage operations, risk, quality, compliance, analytics, member experience. This is taking place end of March in Orlando, Florida. This is more on the plan/operations side than pure sales, but it is gold if you want to understand Medicare Advantage trends. So yeah, I don't know. This kind of sounds almost more like it's geared towards like carrier operations. I don't really know though. That one I was not aware of.
So I'm looking at their website right now, looking at the speakers, and I don't recognize a single one so far. For what that's worth. Like I've never heard these names ever in my life.
Yeah, I don't think it's a sales focused event at all. I think that's more of an operations back end, third party administrator type event. I'm assuming based on that quick breakdown. So yeah, I don't really have anything to say because I've literally never heard of that event, and I've never heard of any. So yeah, I don't really have a comment on that one, but I thought that was interesting. Here's one that
wait,
go ahead.
I want to say one more thing before we move on from that one. I would say that if I've never heard of a single speaker, there's probably not a lot of credibility there. Sorry to anybody that's speaking at that event if I hurt your feelings. I wouldn't go to that one. No.
I want to invite everyone. If you've been to one of these events, part of the problem is Christian and I run our own events, and so there's only so much time in the day. Like Christian said, like part of the reason why he has this boundary, and again, last year I really only did events that we were a part of. Same reasoning really is like we just don't have enough time in the day to go to a dozen industry events plus try to run all of our own events. So but the reason I'm saying this is if you've been to one of these events and you have your own comments or your own reviews that you'd like to share, please drop them in the comments below. I'd love to hear. Yeah, I'd love to hear. I do feel like if you're a sales agent or you're an agency owner, I don't think that's the event for you. So I'll kind of mirror Christian's thoughts in a little bit less abrasive way.
All
I
right,
haven't
let's
heard.
keep.
No, 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 no. You're not going.
um, I and it might warrant going a little bit over top of time today because
Yeah,
I'd
I
love
have
to
time.
okay, good. I'd love to
Yeah, I
kind of
want to
go
get
through
through
this
this
list because
list.
I love this.
Yeah.
Okay, let's keep going.
Yeah, I was. Yeah. So the next one I'm familiar with. So AHIP has their own conference. It looks like
Oh yes,
AHIP
yes.
2026, Medicare, Medicaid, Duals, and Commercial Markets Forum, shortened to MMDC 226. The niche is health plans, government programs, policy, and markets. This is happening the same weekend as Rise. Sorry, Rise. You're probably going to lose some people to the AHIP conference, and it is in Washington, D.C. Why go? High level strategy around Medicare and Medicaid. Great if you're positioning yourself as a high level distribution strategy partner. Thoughts on this?
I've always found it really funny to me that AHIP does they'll sponsor certain events, like they have their own event. And maybe that's why they've never sponsored the summit because I talk like this. But,
Maybe. Maybe.
but I'm like, you guys are a glorified course company that we're all forced to do. Like, okay, I'm looking like I could see it being nothing but
triggered.
I've never gone, admittedly, but I could see it being nothing but compliance talks. Like, a lot of NABIP events are like that. Sorry, NABIP. To where it's like I've been to NABIP events where I'm about to take the stage and I see people asleep in the audience. Like it's happened.
Yeah,
Like
you've sent me pictures.
I've routinely made people stand up when I get on the stage. I'm like, okay, let's get our blood going a little bit because I don't want to talk to a bunch of zombies. Like, I'll never forget. I got on stage at a NIBIP event a few years ago, and there was a guy in the front row like this. He was like this, like out cold. That's how interesting the content usually is because it's legislation content, compliance content. Not to say any of that's not valuable, but man, wouldn't it be nice to have some information in there about growing your business or like how this stuff relates to you or how you can grow your business with these new rules in play or whatever that might be in that context of growth. But a lot of it isn't.
And here's the scary part. And here's part of the reason why we're talking about this at the level that we are, you guys, is you're probably only able, I think the average age, there's freaks out there like Chris, who goes to every industry event that's ever been created. He's essentially the industry historian. But I think the average agent probably only has the ability to attend one or two events, right? So
Yes,
if you pick the wrong event, if you go to something like Rise National 2026 thinking this is going to help you grow your business, and it is all just like behind the scenes MA level compliance and analytics, and it's not, you just wasted your weekend, your funds, and you might not be able to go to another event. So this is why this is important to talk about, because we want you to pick the right event for your business, right?
Okay, so I'm real quickly on the AHIP one before we move on from it.
Yeah.
So listen to the topics of the general sessions on their website. Medicare Advantage and Part D priorities and future directions. Yawn. Marketplace priorities for integrity and affordability. Yawn. The agency's vision for healthcare in 2026. Ooh. Employer health policy priorities. Innovation spotlight. From innovation to affordability, navigating the new era of drug pricing. Like, all of this stuff just screams to me the typical,
right.
Oh, here we go. CMS's vision for Medicare, Medicaid, and Marketplace.
There might be a couple of tidbits, right? And maybe also, here's another thing. Like I said with the Medicarian situation, maybe there's some decent networking happening after that AHIP event. But I would agree with you that most likely the content that's coming at you from stage is probably going to be like eating styrofoam. Like let's just be honest, right? Like saltine crackers from World War II, and you're chugging water to get it down, right? I mean, that's most likely the type of content that's coming at you from stage.
Picture once every 30 minutes you have to take a big bite out of a pine cone. Kind of what I would imagine that event's
You
like.
got smelling salts in your suit coat pocket. You're just like ripping smelling salts every like 90 minutes to stay awake. Like, I'm here. I'm here. Okay. Let's keep rolling. Let's keep
Yeah.
rolling. 17th annual Medicare Market Innovations Forum. Looks like the website is medicaremarketinnovations.com. Medicare marketing, engagement experience, product design, and final rule impacts. 17th annual, but yeah, I've never heard of this one.
Neither have I.
This is happening in Charlotte, North Carolina, May 5th and 6th, 2026. Why go? Specifically about Medicare marketing plus member engagement and how to navigate final rule in 2026 AEP chaos. So I will say from what Chatty G has given me, it sounds like this is more of a sales focused event that's more geared towards the agent compared to the last couple of events we've talked about. But that being said, I'm not familiar with it off the top of my head. Maybe there's so many people who use the term innovation or innovator in their name that it's kind of become this meaningless term because everybody wants to be the innovator. And so I don't know if I've ever came across them or not, to be honest.
So looking at their website, I'll tell you how exciting this is.
Hang on. For the audio only audience, I just want you to know what Christian just pulled out everything out of the holster on it. I could tell he just resituated in his seat. There's a potential massacre coming. So just prepping the audio only audience for what I believe is about to go here. Okay, continue.
I want to say one more thing before I go into this. If it's sounding like I'm just butchering all these events and I'm not positive towards any, that's not the case. It's just I'm trying to be honest. Like if I was looking at it as an attendee. Okay, so I'm on their website. This is their speaker list. Every single speaker that I can tell is from a carrier. So they're carrier reps. So how exciting is that?
Oh boy.
Okay, so
yikes.
Geisinger Health Plans speaker, Blue Cross of Idaho speaker, Metro Plus Health speaker, Devoted Health has a speaker, Banner Health has a speaker, 2 speakers, Banner Health, Moda Health, Elevance Health, so Anthem, Blue Cross Blue Shield of Arizona has a speaker. So half the speakers are Blue Cross people that work for Blue Cross companies.
Interesting. Yeah, very interesting.
How exciting could that possibly be?
Yeah, it again, what Chatty G gave me sounded a lot more exciting than what you dug up pretty quickly there on on the website. So yeah, I don't know. Probably not a top contender by any means based on the speaking lineup that you just shared there.
You can tell a lot about an event by who's speaking at it.
Yeah, I totally agree. Man, and our lineup at the summit last year was fire too.
Yeah. Like it kind of embarrasses all these other events. They can't get anybody there that will actually sell tickets or like people want to pay to see.
Let's keep rolling.
Cost. That's probably a topic for another day. All right.
Yeah, let's keep rolling. We got several more here. I know we're going to go past the hour mark, but just for the sake of everyone's sanity, let's keep going. Next up, Medicare Expo 26 at the Biltmore.
What are these?
I know. The niche. This is the Medicare Producer Expo. AEP strategy, vendor village, and breakouts. This is happening in 2026 at the Biltmore venue, which the Biltmore, I believe, is in Scottsdale, Arizona, if somewhere in Arizona, I believe, unless there's another Biltmore that I'm not aware of. It doesn't give me a specific date for this one. The
September
website
4th of this year, actually. So I guess it already happened.
This one says there's a 26th. Maybe they just haven't announced. Are you at MedicareExpo.net?
Yes.
Yeah, that says it's the website. So it says there's a 2026 event, unless Chatty G got this wrong.
The tickets are $5 per.
Listen to it's a carnival. Listen to this. You're gonna love this.
Carnival?
Why go? Agent-centric expo with carriers, vendors, AEP insights in quotations, and giveaways. Feels like a fun recruiting and training type event. Well, there you go. Recruiting. It's apparently right there in the for $5 a piece. It's one of those things. Again, you don't pay to get on Facebook because you are the monetization of Facebook. And sounds like the Medicare Expo 26. If you're going, get ready to get recruited. That's what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
Any thoughts? Any thoughts? Does the butcher have any thoughts for this?
They're charging $5 per ticket. It's probably worth it. You get what you pay for. If my coffee in the morning costs more than the ticket, like
the butcher, another bloodied event, you guys, right here on the pod. All right,
I've never heard of these events ever.
I know. I was shocked when I saw how big the list was. Another event that I've never heard of. Okay. Another one.
Keep it coming.
And the name is something special here. Okay. G.A.M.E. So it is an acronym for game.
What? Game. G.A.M.E.
Garrity Advantage. Garrity Medicare Expo, AEP 2026. Medicare Advantage sales and tools for AEP 2026. Date and place. It says 2026 Regional Medicare Expo. Date and locations are on the event page. Why go? Very practical. All about leveling up your AEP sales in 2026. With agent-focused training and Medicare connections. It kind of reads to me like this was a event that happened this year, maybe.
So, looking at the website, the vast majority of the speakers are
it's like the Jaws. You could play the Jaws music right now. He found the speaker list.
Okay, so the vast majority of the speakers either work for Garrity, which is an FMO, so it's a big recruiting event, I'm sure, or they work for a carrier. There's one or two other speakers that are not related, it looks like, to either one, so I guess I'll give them credit for that. But I mean, it's a Garrity event, so it's got to be just a big recruiting fest, I would imagine. I don't know, I haven't been, so can't say too much about it.
Again, no idea. The one thing that stood out to me with the synopsis Chatty G gave me was Regional Medicare Expo. So I don't know is it not a national focus? Are they just trying to focus on a region of the U.S.? I don't know. That could be meaningful, maybe not. The next, are you ready to move on?
Go.
You ready for this?
Let's roll.
Oh God.
So far, the only event that we've talked about that I would say, yeah, maybe you should go is Medicarians for the record.
Yeah.
All these others are ridiculous to me.
Well, what's interesting is I think there's a trend. I think that you're seeing a trend, right? It's a recruiting event.
Yeah.
Or it's a
big compliance
compliance
fest.
event. Yeah, a compliance fest or a recruiting event. That's kind of been what you're seeing, from these. So the next one is, I believe you've heard of this conference. It is the Miss Medicare Conference. The niche is Women in Medicare. Networking, skills, leadership. The dates 2026 is posted on their site. Is an ongoing annual conference. Why go? If you are building female leaders or teams in Medicare, this is a niche, but it is a powerful networking and empowerment event. Thoughts on this conference option, Mr. Brindle? Brindle the Butcher.
All right,
Brindle the
so
Butcher.
this event I am familiar with, and for those of you that have been around a long time know that the host and I have history, colorful one at that. I've always found this event ridiculous. It is, it's a female only event, which I don't have a problem with at all. Like I sponsored Rebecca Davis's female only event years ago because I thought it was cool what she was doing. So shout out Rebecca Davis. So I don't have a problem.
That's women
Yeah,
in
yeah,
insurance.
women in insurance. Shout out Rebecca Davis.
Yes.
Um,
Yes. Great event. Great group.
and so like I don't have any problem at all with a female only event. Um, the host has said things like I hate women and things like that. I don't. That's not what this is about. It's that I think the event is ridiculous. I think, I have consistently heard from people that go that it's a big recruiting fest for the operator. And it's a time for the operator to yell at you and lecture you about compliance. And it's not put on by an organization that actually produces or has book of business or clients or anything like that. So I've always found the event absolutely ridiculous, half-baked value at best. And so, no, I would not go. I wouldn't go to that event whatsoever.
Let me ask you something.
Sure.
And I want to tread lightly here, but if I were to roll out a conference in 2026 and it was called Men in Medicare, okay?
Sausage Fest.
MIM. Why does it feel like there would be blowback on that?
Because there's a double standard.
Okay.
In my opinion, right? There's a double standard. I think if you go back into the history of insurance, I think it has predominantly been, especially decades ago in the early years of the formation of what we have today, a male-dominated industry for the most part. That is not the case anymore.
No, it's much more diverse.
Some of the most successful agents I've ever known are women agents. I have said historically that if you could give me two people with equal skill sets as agents to come into my business, and I could have a man and I could have a woman, I'd probably pick the woman because I think women are more effective salespeople. I think they're better at building rapport. I feel like they're better at building connection. I think they're easier to trust. I think they're softer spoken in a way, so they're less intimidating than men. So I think some of the best salespeople in our industry are women, and there's so many amazing women agents that are in our space and that we work with at ESI.
Yeah, I agree.
But I feel like the whole concept of this event is trying to paint the picture that women are not, empowered. They're not being recognized, this and that, which is bullshit. Like at the summit, for example, we have usually pretty close to 50-50 women versus men speakers. And that's not that we're trying to intentionally do that. We're trying to pick the people we want to put on the stage, and just happens to work out that way. But like I've had people in the past that go to this event tell me that we're sexist because we don't have more women on the stage. Like there was one year I had 60% of the speakers were women. They're like, not enough women at the boys club.
Well, okay. So as a gender, like removing gender from all of this conversation, if I'm an agent and I'm looking for the best conference to go to in 2026, I'm not going to pick a conference that's highlighting a certain gender. Just period. I feel like I'm not going to get everything that I want out of that event if only one gender is allowed in the door. Whether it's men or women doesn't matter to me. I want everybody to participate. I want men and women at the event that I'm choosing to go to.
Same.
So, again, I've never personally been to Miss Medicare, but I feel like we did a pretty good job covering that one. Any other thoughts you want to share?
One more thing I want to say,
Yep.
like, this event is all about compliance Nazism.
Compliance
I'm
Nazism.
I'm looking on their website and they have no,
Nazism.
let me get this out. So they have the Medicare disclaimer at the bottom of the website. It's not a consumer facing fucking page. So it says on the website, we do not offer every Medicare plan in your area. Currently, we represent 88 organizations which offer 324 products in your area. Please contact Medicare.gov, 1-800-Medicare, or your local state SHIP department.
Yeah.
I'm like, you're putting that on your website for an agent-facing event site?
We should contact SHIP right now and ask them about Miss Med. Be like, I was on the Miss Medicare website and they told me to contact you.
Be like, well, what's that? Oh, it's an agent event. Like they wanted you to contact us about, like, so that's the type of advice you're going to get there. Make sure to put more disclaimers on your websites.
Yeah.
Make your disclaimers longer in your email signatures, and start your phone call off with 5 minutes of extra disclaimer to make sure you're safe.
It is
like, but excuse me, but when do we start making sales? That's secondary. Fuck you. Comply.
It's the Biden CMS administration all over again, right? I mean, we're looking at Shaquita Jones. Yeah, it's Shaquita part 2. I'm all for compliance. I'm all for following the rules, but over policing of ourselves, that's really become a trend, is disgusting. I'm not a fan of this.
Like, what type of advice are you going to get from an organization that overregulates themselves like that? Puts that disclaimer on an agent-facing website that's not a consumer website. Where's the rule that says you have to do that?
Yeah, doesn't exist. 100%. That's crazy. All right, well, let's keep rolling. Okay. Ironically enough, this was not by my own design, but the last one on the list, maybe Chatty G saved the best for last. I don't know, but it is the 7-Figure Medicare Agent Summit. Parentheses 2026. The niche for this one: high growth Medicare agents and agencies, sales and scaling strategies. The dates: June 15th through the 17th, 2026, per the event page, which it looks like the info is pulled from 7figure.com, according to Chatty G. Why go? Focus is specifically on scaling to 7 figures in production with top producers.
Yes!
And with top producers and FMO leaders sharing tactical plays. Oof. I mean, I don't know if you could have written something more attractive up yourself based on just what Chatty G pulled there. Thoughts on what Chatty G said about the event?
Great representation, Chatty G. And, I think it's a very, truthful representation of what the event is all about. It's not about anything other than giving you the tools as an agent or an agency owner to level up your business and to do it in an effective way, certainly a compliant way, an ethical way, but to give you true and scalable and actionable items to actually grow your business. There's no pitching, there's no fluff. I can tell you that we have never made significant profit on this event, ever.
Yes.
And we could, and we choose not to.
Right. We could, for sure.
We take it in the shorts to give you real value. That's why I'm such a snob about so many of these events, I feel like, because I know what they're trying to do, and there are things we could easily do as well, but we choose not to do it because we want to put on a great event and bring you value. From the get-go, we wanted to put on the event that we would want to pay to go to. So if I may, can I share my screen?
Please.
Okay, so can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, so for those of you that aren't aware about the summit, it's in 195 days from the time of this episode. 15 hours, 41 minutes, and 33 seconds.
Right around the corner.
It's not the biggest event of the year, admittedly, but it's big. We'll have, like Glenn said, probably between 400 to 500 agents there next year. We had about 400 agents there in 2025, our biggest year ever. It's routinely just gotten tons of praise for just real actionable information. We don't just throw a lineup up there of only our own organization, although there's plenty of people in our organization up there. We put up people that bring value from other organizations that we don't benefit from at all. We don't charge them to speak oftentimes. So it's going to be a good event. Right now, the only speakers that have been announced are you and me, and that's all you need. But there will be more speakers to come that we're announcing. It's in Salt Lake City, June 15th through the 17th.
Expect that list in January, you guys.
We are hotel that we had it at last year. And our sponsor options, I was looking at some of these others, like their top sponsored options on some of these other events are $20,000, and you get less than what we're giving you. Our top sponsorship option is $8,000. Super affordable. Our bottom tier one is $2,500. So if you want to get some exposure for your business, sponsorship is a great way to do it. But yeah, I mean, I love our event. I love everything that it stands for. Every year when it's happening and when it's finished up, I love the feedback that we get from the agents. It's always so positive, and the agents just come and they just love it. And that means a lot to me. And I mean, last year was very stressful, or I should say this year, 2025, because my wife was going to give birth. She ended up giving birth 4 days after the event finished to our son. And then at the same time, I got sick during it, and I was trying to keep it to myself, People on our staff were like, "Are you losing your voice?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, that's what it is."
Well, admittedly, you do lose your voice, I feel like, almost with the amount of talking and speaking, because Christian MCs the event and he's presenting. Again, I want to encourage all of you listening to this or watching this, whether you're watching it live or the replay, drop your comments below, whether this is about the 7-Figure Medicare Agent Summit, if you've gone, or if it's another event that we talked about that you've been to. I'd love for you to share your experience with any of these events here on this video, on this podcast episode. One thing I would love to do, maybe to kind of put an end cap on the summit, if you could find the video that kind of highlights the summit and kind of that montage that Jake put together for us of the individuals talking about. I don't know if it's on a YouTube channel. I know it's in probably one of our chats, but I think, again, the summit is a really unique experience. If you've been to some of these other events, like we highlight, a lot of them are either compliance related events, or it's potentially you're going to hear from a lot of carrier reps, which if you've listened to carrier reps talk, I think you understand the sort of value that you'll get from some of these carrier reps, which can a lot of times be hit or miss. Or it's a recruiting fest. You're just they're trying to recruit you. They're trying to put you in their downline. So being that Christian and I have been in the industry, we've been to a lot of these types of events over the years, we're trying to really set the standard of providing value and not fall into one of those categories. So yeah, I think this is a great clip that shout out to Jake that put this together for us, that you can hear firsthand from some of the attendees. Go ahead, roll it.
Yeah.
Great. It's something I recommend everybody take a chance, take the opportunity, buy out the time, plan it. And there's 500 agents here who are bringing practical new ideas back home to their home agency. And we're so excited to be here.
Got to see a lot of old friends, met a lot of few people over here. Networking is great. Got to see a lot of wood technology, all the vendors, speakers.
The message that I got was essentially to rely simply on myself is going to be a self-limiting process.
I'll tell you, if you have not been to this conference, you need to be here.
Great. It's something I recommend.
Boom. Love it.
Yeah.
Right from the mouths of the people.
Guys, like we said at the beginning of the episode, we have a Black Friday sale going on tickets. They're typically $400 ahead, which is a bargain, right? You know, Steve Pomerantz pointed out very accurately, one more sale additionally a year from value you get from the event pays for the ticket. Like, that's ridiculous. And, you know, but we understand it's extremely valuable information, so we don't charge $5.
It's not a circus, unfortunately.
No, like, it's not a carnival ride. You know, we won't have a cotton candy machine.
$5. That's crazy.
It's also not free. Some of these events are free, which again, you get what you pay for. But it's extremely affordable, and you should definitely make sure that you get there. It's going to be such a great event, and I can't wait for it. We're about 6 months away, a little bit over. Can't believe we're already that close. So yeah, guys, get your tickets. And that's my final thoughts on today's episode. Not to say that the summit's the only event you should go to, but it's certainly at the top of the list, I would say.
Absolutely. I just to kind of mirror those final thoughts, you guys. My final thoughts. Great episode today, episode 181 of the Seven Figures or Bust podcast. You know, I think this was a really great kind of if you're new to the industry, right? I think we kind of pulled back the curtain on what you're seeing at a lot of these other events. Like, I really do feel like we did a great job to give you guys an idea of most likely what you're going to see when you go to one of these industry events. The summit is definitely at the top of the list, if not the number one event that you should be considering going to. And with the discount on tickets right now, I think you'd be crazy not to pick one up. Again, it is in Salt Lake City, June 15th to the 17th in 2026. If you are looking for an opportunity to sponsor an event next year and to get in front of more agents, and I will say the level of engagement is very, very high at this event. You know, you might not get this type of engagement with other sponsorship opportunities. So definitely check it out. Head over to sevenfigure.com. The link is below the comments here in the live stream in the Seven Figure Medicare Agent Facebook group. If you want to pick up that ticket, or if you want to look at some of these sponsorship opportunities, we are coming up on the end of the year. So, you know, I'm not a certified accountant. Talk to your CPA, but could be a great tax write-off as well to drop some sponsorship, or again, pick up 10 tickets. That could be a great write-off too, potentially. Talk to your accountant. Head over to sevenfigure.com, sevenfigure.com.
Appreciate you guys watching all the way to the end. This was a longer episode than normal. Hope you enjoyed it. I always love talking about events, selfishly. So I enjoyed today's episode. Again, get your tickets to the summit while you can. Big discount for Black Friday, and we'll see you guys in Salt Lake City in June. We'll talk about the event more as we get closer. And appreciate you guys watching all the way to the end of the show. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, give us a 5-star review, whatever the platform of your choice will allow you to do to support the show. It helps more agents find the show who desperately need to hear this information. And until next time, guys, happy final week of AEP. Here's to your massive success. We'll see you on the next one. Thanks, everybody.